All right. Hello. I am live to take your questions. Whew, it's been a busy week or so in our house. Hope you guys had a good Valentine's Day. Hello. Feel free to join me on YouTube. I will be taking questions there. And if you have questions on Instagram, I'll try to keep up with those, but I will be mostly here at YouTube. Good morning. So while you guys are hopping on, my book is available on Amazon, so you can order the paperback or the ebook from Amazon. So that's super exciting. Thank you for all the people who did make an order, and thank you for the support. It was really cool to be able to do that, and I'm excited. Good morning. Hello. So I'm here to answer any questions, and also if you have something you want to share that's health related or carnivore related, I would be happy to hear about it. Something else coming up around the corner is my spring retreat. So that is going to be with, I have two special guests, Dr. Kiltz. I just released an interview with him this morning. He is mind-blowingly genius. This guy just goes really deep into things that people don't talk about even within the carnivore community, and that's huge. Someone asked what my book title is. It's called My Tailor Journey, and then the subtitle is An Overcomer's Handbook. And if you just search for my name, it should come up as well, Rebecca Heichman. But the book is called My Tailor Journey. So Dr. Kiltz will be at the spring retreat, and then also, hi, good morning, and then also Lisa Wiedemann, who is also extremely smart, intelligent, and I just can't wait to spend time with her. She's going to be with us every single day, and they are both really into this high-fat carnivore thing. So for those of you who are trying it out or who would like to do it in person, this is a great opportunity. And then for those of you who are interested in my recipes, this is where I make all of them and I show you. It's a very hands-on experience, and you get to try everything for yourself. Hi, love your page. I'm struggling with under eating, and I want to see if I can join with my husband and ask you a couple questions. Awesome. I would love to have you. Love to have you. So if you have a question, please just put it in the chat box so that I can see it. I'm on almost week 6 of mostly meat, working to lose 100 pounds, and I'm down 25. Awesome. What macros do you recommend? So I can't recommend macros without knowing a bit more about you. If you're 6 weeks into mostly meat, I'm assuming that means you're going a ketogenic approach under 25 total carbs per day. If you are fat adapted, which I believe you probably are because you've lost a significant amount of weight, I would recommend making sure that your hormones are supported. So if you have any hormonal issues that you know of, thyroid issues, anything, then don't lower anything. You need to stay higher fat than protein and do that until your hormones are completely stable. And then once you're completely stable, I would say play around with some maybe protein sparing days where you're just eating protein and lower fat. You're going to need a bare minimum of around 50 grams of fat per day to absorb your vitamins and minerals. But you could certainly do 2 days a week of lower fat, keep your protein up so you're holding on to your lean muscle. There's really no need to just starve yourself. Just eat the protein, support your lean muscle. Protein itself, 40% of calories from protein are not even absorbed. They're just burnt off through digestion. And then lower the fat, maybe 2 days a week. And then I would highly recommend keeping your calories above 1,500 all the time. 1,500, below that is a starvation diet. Toddlers need 1,200 calories per day. So there's no need to cut below 1,500 unless you're doing like protein sparing days, 2 days a week. But keep it at maintenance, keep it up there. That's going to keep your muscle mass, your resting metabolic rate super high, and then that'll be a sustainable approach to lose weight. Good morning and happy Monday, Rebecca. Happy Monday, crispy carnivore. How often do you consume fish? Chris, your name is Chris. I consume fish, not that much. I crave salmon probably once every 2 months, and then I'll eat it, and then I'm not craving it anymore. If, fish is pretty lean, and then if you're getting fatty fish, I would really prefer to get saturated fat, and fish has a lot of monounsaturated fat and some linoleic acid. So I really just prefer fatty ruminant animals. Grass-fed lamb has more omega-3s than wild-caught salmon. So I really don't feel like I'm missing much except for my minerals. So I take Aussie Trace minerals every day. I put them in my water bottle, and that's how I get my minerals. But I do think seafood is a great source of zinc and other minerals. So I eat fish a couple times a month. I really do love the red wild Argentinian shrimp from Costco. It tastes like lobster, and it doesn't cost like lobster. I used to eat that every day, but I kind of burnt myself out. So I've really been on a kick of goat and veal lately. All right. Are you still not washing your hair? It looks great. Thank you. I am not washing my hair. I haven't washed it since the beginning of November. Last night I did a apple cider vinegar rinse just because if I don't wash my hair at all, which I don't, I just rinse it with water once a week or so, and I brush it and just I let it dry. But if I don't do anything to my scalp, there will be a buildup of sebum. So that apple cider vinegar rinse is something I do. That was the first time I've done it, just because I felt like it was getting kind of like dull, and it definitely livened my curls again. So no, I'm not washing my hair. Rebecca, I had a question between stew meats, pressure cooked meats in Instapot, like your recipes, and grilled meats in air fryer. Which one do you think is easier on gut and more gentle? I personally think that the pressure cooked meats are going to be easier and better for your gut if you're really, really struggling with digestion, because pressure cooked meats typically contain a lot of gelatin and collagen, which is great for your gut. Gelatin contains a lot of glycine, which is amazing for digestion, and then it's also soft because it's pressure cooked. So I think that would be ideal, but not to say that air fried meat is hard on your gut. But if you are struggling with an all meat diet, I would definitely say try the pressure cooked meats. And I really love goat shank, lamb shank, stew meat from Billy Doe Meats. It comes with a lot of collagen. You can eat the bones, and the meat is soft. And then save the liquid, because that's an amazing broth, and it's very good for your gut. I was extremely sick as an 8-year vegan, so thankful for what you share. Eating meat has given me my life back. I definitely want to get into full carnivore. Thanks for the inspiration. That's amazing. I'm so happy that you decided to make some changes for yourself and think outside the box. I can imagine that you must be feeling a lot better. Just keep it up. Honestly, it gets better and better. I'm still feeling better and better. And that's one of the awesome benefits of eating animal foods, is you don't even realize your full potential until you just fuel yourself properly, and it gets better and better. So someone sent a request to join the video. I won't be doing that, but if you want to type your questions in the chat box, then I will read them. Your hair looks so good right now. I'm trying not to use shampoo anymore too. I would highly recommend it, you guys. My husband did it. He's the one that encouraged me to do it. I was already only washing my hair like once every 10 days, but I was using product, and now I use nothing. I have saved so much money and time, honestly. And it's kind of frizzy right now because Tyler was rubbing my head earlier. I was like, babe, my hair. But it's really nice to not have to worry about it. Like, putting product in my hair took time. Even if it's just 10 minutes, it's like, that's 10 minutes. And I don't really want to spend that time or money when I don't need to. So honestly, my hair and curls are better than they've ever been, and it's the lowest maintenance thing, and my hair doesn't smell, it's not greasy, so I would definitely recommend trying it out. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. Are you in Canada? No, I'm in Illinois, similar to Canada, very liberal and cold. But yeah, we're in Illinois. We're about 40 minutes outside of Chicago. How long into carnivore would you say it took for you to feel so good? I was so ill too. I'm now 7 months in, already feeling so much better, but obviously not fully healed yet. I would say to feel so good, at least a year, and that's when I felt stable enough to reintroduce butter and egg yolks. And truth be told, I didn't do good with the butter the first time. I would eat it, and then after 3 days of eating butter, I would get these arthritic symptoms in my body, and so I just had to back off. And then I reintroduced it like 6 months later, and I did great. Now I'm to the point where I can eat tons of other foods. I can eat popcorn, I can eat fruit, I can eat gluten without dying or going into a coma. I don't really eat those things regularly. I do not, but I can. And I think that's really huge. That really speaks to actual healing. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm not going to add someone to this video just because there are so many other people with other questions. But if you want to type your question in the comment box, then I will answer it happily. Oh, yeah. So 1 year is when I would say that I was feeling so good. But I continue to feel better and better and stronger and stronger. So I think it takes 3 weeks to 6 months to heal and seal the gut, depending on where you're coming from. Also keep in mind that you can be dumping oxalates for up to 10 years, which is a long time. I'm not saying that you will be, but you have to give yourself time and think about how much time you spent doing the wrong things for your body, and you have to give it time. But if you're 7 months in, I would expect for your benefits and how good you feel to be at least doubled if you continue this for, if you get to a year and a half, 2 years, it takes time to push toxins out of your body and to support your hormones. Like, I think of all the things that took time, like my thyroid and getting my period back. Those things take time, and I felt the benefit when it happened. So give it time. That's amazing. Were you eating only meat the first year? That's correct. I was eating only meat, mostly lamb from Billy Doe Meats. My discount code is tailored. So that lamb was a game changer for me because I tried carnivore with just beef, salt, and water, and I felt so much worse. I was having hypoglycemia, severe mast cell activation syndrome, and it was just horrible. It was not sustainable. And so I decided to think outside the box, and I met Huda from Billy Doe Meats, and that family, that company has done so much for me, just encouraging me and standing by me and helping me by doing what they do to provide non-aged meat, which is holistically raised, and it's fatty. So like I said earlier, that lamb is richer in omega-3s than wild-caught salmon. It's also rich in stearic acid, which promotes mitochondrial fusion. It's rich in conjugated linoleic acid. It's awesome for your body. It's like medicine, and it's good variety. So I was meat, salt, and water for the first year. And then I started adding things back in, and then I discovered Equip Foods Prime Protein, and I invented the carnivore brownie, and that wasn't until like a year and a half into my healing. And cooking the lamb wrong, it has a really strong taste, gamey to me. Lamb is very gamey, and I cannot consume lamb from anywhere except for Billy Doe Meats because it's the only lamb that doesn't taste gamey. That's one of the things that they're known for, is their lamb, goat, and veal does not taste gamey. And I've gotten lamb from the grocery store before and just thrown it out because it was disgusting to me. And I like gamey meat, so you're not cooking it wrong. It's just that lamb is naturally very gamey. I would recommend trying out Billy Doe Meats. Okay. Waiting for questions. It makes me really happy to see these people trying carnivore for longer than 30 days. So It's not fair to say that something didn't work if you only tried it for 30 days. Your body needs longer to acclimate, to adjust, and your body also has a good way of prioritizing healing. I think that it's a mistake to use like detox protocols with Lyme disease and candida. I don't think detox is bad, but sometimes people go way too hard with the herbs and you're forcing your body to detox at a rate that it doesn't want to. It's too much. Um, when you kill off bad bacteria, candida specifically, it actually releases a chemical that's toxic to your body. And so when we just flox ourselves with all these herbs and stuff, it's too much. But when you support your body at a systemic level and give it time and consistency, your body will thrive. But it takes time. So that's my point. So I'm really happy to hear that you guys are sticking with it and feeling better. If I have loose stool after 6 weeks carnivore, do I maybe need an ox bile supplement, for example? I cut out coffee. I would consider counting up the amount of rendered fat that you're consuming. So rendered fat is any type of liquid fat. So like when you cook ground beef, all of that grease in the pan is rendered fat. If you're pouring it over your beef, it's very likely to cause nausea, heart palpitations, diarrhea, loose stools. It's also in bone broth. When you cook meat and then there's oil floating around in that broth, that's rendered fat. So if you're eating a lot of that, I would recommend pulling back on that and eating more fat that's like cold. So you could eat suet, like raw suet, or you could eat cold butter. That's number one. And if you're still having an issue, you could try a lipase supplement. It's just an enzyme, lipase enzyme, or you could try ox bile. And that would just be a good experiment to see if that's the issue. And if it is, then you should know that it will improve with time, because the liver is what produces bile for the gallbladder. And this way of eating will repair your internal organs if you're doing it right. So the liver will actually become more efficient at producing bile for the gallbladder. Now, that being said, again, with the rendered fat, everyone has a threshold. I have a threshold. So to some degree, you're going to have to cut back if that's what you're doing. You hit the nail on the head about rendered fat. How do I get it down? Yes, just chew cold fat. What if I gag? If you gag eating cold fat, then I would recommend getting something like Billy Doe Meats. Their lamb chops are super fatty, but it's not melted. It's the fat that's attached to the meat, and that's what I did for the first year when I was only eating fat. I was eating suet, but I was also eating their lamb chops, lamb loins, lamb neck. It's a lot of fat. So just get the fattier cuts of meat versus the melted fat. And I understand eating liberal amounts of cold fat is something to get used to. When I first met Tyler, he was like, I will never do that. That's crazy. And now he eats butter every day. In the morning, he takes a bite of butter. And so it takes time. But you could sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on your butter. Just get a little slice of butter, cold butter, sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of sea salt. It tastes like cinnamon toast. And so that could be where you start. Any advice for a recovering binge eater? Yes. So I personally would recommend dialing into your macros, because a lot of people here say just eat meat until you're full, and I don't think that's good advice, because we have to eat the proper ratio of fat to protein to support our hormones, to support leptin. So if you struggle with overeating and you're eating way too much protein and not enough fat, and your body's not even fat adapted, eventually I think your body would figure it out if you don't consume any carbs. That's step number one. Just get away from the carbs for a long time until you get through this, which you will. Eat fat and protein. But if you're eating more protein than fat, or if your body is still running on glucose through gluconeogenesis, you could just be in this cycle where you're still running into those impulses to binge and cravings and always thinking about food because your blood sugar is going like this. So I would highly recommend leading with fat, eating a little bit of fat at the beginning of each meal. This is going to send the signal to your body that it's supported, that it's getting its fuel, and that is fat. Whereas if you were to start a meal with lean protein, your body is receiving a signal that you're eating, and that's lean protein. And what does your body have to do with that to get fuel? It has to take it through gluconeogenesis and create glucose. So eat some fat first. And then also just be sure you're eating enough fat with your protein. And support. You need support and accountability. If you have a severe binge eating disorder, isolation is one of the things that works against us. So I'm not saying tell the world, but I hope that you have a couple people who can keep you accountable. If you need a coach, hire a coach. And also don't force yourself to do anything that feels too restrictive. So for me, just beef, salt, and water was too restrictive. And there are some vegetables that you can eat that don't contain anti-nutrients that are just going to add variety. Everyone is different. So vegetables and sweet tasting things can really trigger someone, whereas someone else with a different personality, it really helps them to make this sustainable. So you have to know the type of person that you are. But I would definitely keep the carbs close to zero and focus on higher fat cuts of meat. Yeah, this person that keeps asking to me in my video is really obviously not who they say they are, so I'm not going to even respond to you. So you can just leave. Okay, what is the best meat food to eat before a workout or while having your period? So I personally like working out fasted because I'm fat adapted. If you were to have a meal, I would say eat something with not super high fat, which it probably goes against the grain for a lot of people here. Have some fat so that your body knows it's running on fat. And if you're fat adapted, then it should know that already. And then have maybe 4 to 5 ounces of protein, enough to get at least 25 grams, which is going to get you to that leucine threshold. And those amino acids are going to support your workout while you're breaking down those muscles. But the reason I say not too much fat is because that takes a long time to go through your digestive tract, your digestive system, and it actually draws blood to your digestion, to your stomach to digest the fat, and that is going to take away the blood circulation from your muscles when you're working them, and we need that. So definitely don't be uncomfortably full when you're working out. All right. You are very welcome. You rock too. Can keto/carnivore make your urine too acidic or mess up the pH? So keto or carnivore cannot mess up the pH of your actual blood. It can change the pH of your stomach. It can change the way that you digest food in a positive way. So when we eat sugary foods or we're running on glucose, the stomach is more of an alkaline environment. And so when we switch to eating meat, it's hard to break down that fat and protein because it's an alkaline environment. But the longer you eat meat and fat, it will become more acidic, which is a good thing. We want that. That's what breaks down protein and fat. But no, it cannot change your blood to any dangerous level. I mean, I don't even think to any significant level. The acidity of your body and your blood is so tightly regulated by other things, I don't think it even really makes a difference. And I think Dr. Ken Berry has a good video on that on YouTube. Does it take long to be fat adapted? I started January 16th and lost 19 pounds so far. Wow, that's amazing. So I would say that you're probably fat adapted if you're losing that weight, and that's incredible. Congratulations. I mean, that's just over 1 month. So does it take long to become fat adapted? It depends on a lot of different variables. So if you're very high stress, if you're not sleeping, then yeah, it could take a long time. But if you're supported, if you're sleeping at night, you're eating enough fat, you could become fat adapted within 48 hours. But for some people it takes 6 weeks, takes months for some people. So it sounds like you're doing it right though. And some of the, some of the ways to tell that you're fat adapted is if you can skip a meal and you're fine, if you can skip breakfast and you're fine, if you have less cravings, if you have more mental focus, if you're waking up with energy, you're not dragging out of bed, those are signs that you're fat adapted. The opposite would probably mean that you're running on glucose, because you are going to need glucose every 4 hours. You're depending on the clock. When you're fat adapted, your body can just turn to its own body fat. It sounds like that's what your body is already doing. That's incredible. Keep it up. Whenever I'm in ketosis, I can't sleep. What should I do? I would recommend eating more food in general and eating a little bit of fat before you go to bed, and then also keeping fat on your bedside table. So there was a season of life where I took Adderall for over 13 years, 80 milligrams per day, which is a lot. I was just in fight-flight mode. And to get my body to become supported again and to burn fat again, I ate a little bit of butter with cinnamon and sea salt right before bed. I kept it on my bedside table because I was always waking up around 2 or 3 because cortisol and my body and brain wanted glucose. So that is a perfect opportunity to train your body and tell your body that it's going to use fat for fuel. So eat a little bit of butter. I'm not talking about half a stick. I'm talking about half a teaspoon, half a tablespoon of butter. It's less about the amount. It's more about sending that signal to your body that, hey, this is your fuel source. You're supported. You have plenty. Go back to sleep. And so that should help. You probably need more fat, and then also be sure that your electrolytes are on point. You are going to need more electrolytes when you're in ketosis, and that's something that could keep you up. What do I think of fasting? I think it's amazing. Intermittent fasting is something that anyone will benefit from, even when you're underweight. When I was underweight, I did 16-8. Outside of my eating window, that 8-hour eating window, when the sun was down, if I was hungry, I would eat pure fat, because that is not going to give you an insulin response like carbs or protein. As far as extended fasting, there is a proper time and season. And I think it's really good to do like once a quarter, maybe a 48 to 72 hour fast. That induces a lot of autophagy, so you're getting damaged proteins to turn over in your body, and it's a great way to heal the gut. And honestly, for me, it's just awesome to practice that detachment from food and realize there's so much more to life than eating. So I did OMAD for the whole second half of my weight gain, healthy, healing journey. I still gained 50 pounds on OMAD, and I loved it because I only had to eat once a day. And it was just so freeing and easy to do. I don't eat once a day anymore just because I'm trying to get stronger right now, and I want to keep that protein synthesis going as much as possible. But I think fasting is awesome. You just have to know where you fall in that fasting season and window. Thank you for the encouragement. Do you train until failure when you lift? Many times right now, yes, very much so, because I'm trying to grow. But you can't do that forever. You will burn out. So you have to go through weeks of deload and weeks of training until failure. I've been hitting a lot of PRs, which is really exciting. I'm definitely getting stronger, but I can't keep doing this forever because it's exhausting. And, if I kept this up, my cortisol would get too high. I have to deload. I have to take days off and balance it. So I don't always train until failure, but more recently, I have been a lot. Yes. How do you get fat adapted? So some of the tricks that I've recommended with like eating butter and leading with fat, it's just sending the signal to your body that it has a new fuel source. Glucose is a fuel source and fat is a fuel source. And if you remove the glucose, the dietary glucose, your body will start to recognize fat. The body is adaptive and very smart. So if it has a lot of dietary fat coming in, it's going to be like, this would probably be efficient if I started running on fat. Once that happens and your body knows how to run on fat, you can pull out the dietary fat, some of it, and allow your body to tap into your own body fat. But you have to first become fat adapted, and a lot of people skip that step. So that dietary fat is really important in the beginning. Carnivore has been so freeing. I'm not constantly planning my next meal. Yes. All through my life, paleo, keto, whatever I did before this, I was always thinking about my next meal. Even while I was eating a meal, I would think about my next meal. Carnivore is very freeing because you become leptin sensitive, which is your satiety hormone. And it's like, when I'm done, I'm done. I'm free. I can go live my life. And then I don't have to think about food again until my body tells me I need it. So that's incredible. That's true food freedom, in case anyone wondered, because there are a lot of different definitions of food freedom. I see people eating cookies for dinner and chocolate bars for breakfast, and they're like, this is food freedom. I disagree. That's not food freedom, because I can't imagine that you really feel free in your relationship with food if you're eating like that. If you can, good for you. You're probably under 20 years old, and it probably won't last. True food freedom is when you are free to live your life aside from food. You should start hunting. You'll save tons of meat. We plan to. We want to move. We want to get a lot of property and definitely hunt. It's on the to-do list, trust me. Okay. Carb-free and fully fat adapted now for 6 weeks. What I found that amazes me is how calm my nervous system is and how I rarely get triggered by silliness. Can you speak to this? Yeah. I mean, guys, I was the most reactive person. I was emotional, I was reactive, and it's because your blood sugar is going like this. And every time it goes up and down on a roller coaster, it causes some level of inflammation to your brain and your body, and it makes you a much more reactive person. It's just inflammation, and when you get that flat line, it really supports your mood. I mean, and your energy. So, like, I used to be exhausted, I used to be hormonal and irritable and just all over the place. And when you support your body at a systemic level, which involves your immune system, your central nervous system, and your gut and your hormones, everything comes together, and you are kind of like, I can do this thing called life. It happens to a lot of people, and that's one of the best things that ever happened to me. I had really bad mood disorders. I had anxiety, horrible anxiety. I took clonazepam, benzopidines for that 13 years that I was also taking Ambien and Adderall, and I had really bad mood disorders. And my central nervous system definitely crashed. It was definitely oversaturated. That's what adrenal burnout actually is. It's when your adrenals are oversaturated, and I was having suffocation attacks. It was bad. I had panic attacks all the time, and I was in real estate, and it was impossible to live with. I actually ended up working at home, and I had to just quit working because I got so bad. I was so medically unstable, and I started having involuntary seizures and suffocation attacks. It was all rooted in my central nervous system. And when you start to eat in a way that supports your body, that goes away, and you can heal and you can live your life. So I'm really happy to hear you are experiencing that, and keep it up. Best diet for lupus, skin tingling, nighttime all over. Wow, that's incredible. I was almost diagnosed with lupus, but I did not have that. I'm really happy for you. This is the way to go. If you have any autoimmune issues or mood disorders, we heal our guts with animal foods, animal fat, protein, collagen. And when you remove the interference, which is a lot of anti-nutrients found in vegetables and other foods like that, it's a winning formula. You can't really go wrong. What should we focus more on, working out or what we eat? Definitely what you eat. You cannot outlift, you can't outrun a bad diet. When you break down your muscles, you bet you want to be eating really well so that your body can repair them properly. If you are working out to a T, your hormones and adrenals and everything else will crash if you're not getting the proper nutrients or fueling yourself properly. And I have worked with people who are Instagram famous because they have 6-packs and they're shredded. But guess what? Their skin sucks. They're hangry all the time. They're emotional. They don't have their period. It's not sustainable. So focus on nutrition first. Working out. The reason I work out is because I love being strong and I love the challenge. I love using it as practice for discipline. It's great for my mood. Endorphins. That's a good way to get endorphins. And being strong is one of the best things that you can do for yourself as well. It's like another immune system muscle. Do you think it's better to just start 100% or slowly take foods out? I think the only thing that you might consider slowly taking out would be carbs, and that's only for someone who has been addicted to sugar and carbs for a long time and you feel really stressed out about the idea. I went cold turkey, but I was already keto, and a lot of people who have already done keto go cold turkey. But if you've never even done keto, you might try lowering the carbs more slowly, because it's going to be a total shock to your body when you pull out the carbs and your body's not fat adapted yet. It's like putting yourself in a purgatory of energy. Everything else, I would definitely just pull it out 100%, because meat is all you need. Everything else is just noise. Love these lives you provide. You're so encouraging and knowledgeable. Thank you. I have a lot to learn still. And I hope that I'm encouraging. You guys are encouraging too. Someone said you can take seed oils out completely, 100%, and never bring them back in. That's something that I never plan on reintroducing, is seed oils. Do you have any resentment towards the medical system? No, I don't. I have a better understanding of it, because the truth is your doctor goes to school to learn how to prescribe medications. And then we go in there and we get mad at them for prescribing us medications. It's like, that's what they were taught to do. And they also took a nutrition class that was like 10 minutes long. Something ridiculous. And so, no, I don't have any resentment, but my heart breaks for those who have suffered because of the traditional medicine community. And I talk a lot in my book about being mistreated by traditional medicine doctors and functional medicine doctors, and my experience in an eating disorder unit and how upside down it is. And also that a lot of these people think they're helping you. They don't know what else to do. It's what they're taught to do. So I actually don't think it's good to have resentment towards anyone ever, no matter what they've done. But I am very passionate about helping people who have been screwed over, because there is a lot of us who have. How many times a day do you eat? Right now I'm usually eating 2 times a day. Sometimes I'll eat 1 time a day. I rarely eat 3 times a day. I can't remember the last time I did. Gluten gave me anxiety, depression, and cravings for alcohol. That's a good reason to leave gluten out of your diet. Are you ever surprised by people who are your age but look 10 years older? And do you think if someone is in that boat, that fitness can take off those years? I do not think fitness can take off years. I think that too much fitness can make you look older, because you're bumping up your cortisol without getting your nutrition right. I think the only thing that can reverse age someone is proper nutrition. And if you see pictures of me when I was 69 pounds, I had like creases in my face. My skin was dry and like my face was droopy. I looked older than I do now. So I think that nutrition is the ultimate reverse age diet. And people who eat a lot of animal fat, specifically suet is like a reverse age supplement. One, because it's rich in that stearic acid that I mentioned, promotes mitochondrial fusion. So that means it takes two damaged mitochondria, fuses them together to create a new healthy cell. That's incredible. And then also that fat is so good at helping you to push toxins out of your body. It makes you glow from the inside out. So it's definitely nutrition. Do you still deal with OCD? Not at all. To an incredible degree. Like right now we have construction workers putting in a closet in our bedroom, and there is dust and plastic everywhere, and I can't find my stuff, and I'm okay. Like, I would literally lose my mind. Prior me. Earlier me would have just lost it. So no, I don't struggle with OCD. I don't. Do you prefer clients emphasize more on protein or fat as a priority when carbs are less than 20 grams a day? Understanding that protein and fats are both important. I think that prioritizing fat, more fat than protein, is almost always my recommendation, unless someone is already fat adapted, super stable, and all they want to do is lose weight. Then I would recommend maybe 2 or 3 days of lower fat, higher protein, just so that your body can tap into its own body fat. But long term, across the board, higher fat is ideal because it's fuel for our brains, our bodies. It's butter is anti-inflammatory. So when you eat butter, it suppresses inflammation in your body. It's incredible. Okay. What does a typical day of food look like for you? Goat shank. I love goat shank. I'll pressure cook it for 4 hours on high. I will eat the bones. I will eat the marrow inside the bones. I will eat the meat, probably 2 shanks at a time. And I like to make these pressure cooked mushrooms, white mushrooms pressure cooked, and then you put a little bit of fat and apple cider vinegar on them. And you just let them sit there. They don't go bad because they're fermenting. And white mushrooms contain in a natural antibiotic that is not harmful. It's very good for your immune system. So I like to eat those, not a lot. Whether they're sauteed with rosemary or some type of organ meat like sweetbreads or heart, I eat those regularly. Or I just eat them maybe with some miracle noodles. That's a shirataki noodle. My discount code is tailored10 for miracle noodles. That's good texture, good variety. Sometimes, like today, I'm probably just going to eat lamb steak. I have 2 lamb leg steaks. We have a lot going on, and I just don't want to be in the kitchen a lot, so I'm just going to eat 2 steaks. Plenty of fat, plenty of protein. I got my water, I got my minerals. On a day that I want more variety, I'll have carnivore brownies, carnivore ice cream. Those recipes are on my YouTube channel. So it's always a lot of meat. And lamb or goat is what I really like. Thank you. Been carnivore for 10 months and developing rash on back shoulder. Should I include whole food carbs? No. Including carbs, I don't think has anything to do with it. I think that you're either oxalate dumping or you're dealing with histamine intolerance. Those would be my 2 guesses. So I would definitely experiment with non-aged meat. Billy Doe Meats is non-aged. See if that helps. And then you could also experiment with adding in around 50 milligrams of oxalate to slow down the dumping process. I'm about 182, but when I was in the Peace Corps, I was 165. I'm also 5'11". I looked better, but I was very unhealthy. I'm trying to get back to that weight, but in a healthy way. Yeah. So right now I weigh 145 pounds, which is way heavier than I think I look. I don't think I look jacked or shredded, but I don't think I look like 145 pounds. And I remember in 7th grade, when I was going through puberty, I remember being 118 and feeling so fat. But I didn't have muscle. I wasn't eating very well. And so when you eat the right way, your body composition will change, and that number matters less and less and less. So don't be tied to a number. I would recommend taking progress pictures and having some clothing that you can feel if your clothes fit better. But like, I've been growing in a good way. I just bought myself new shorts, the same exact shorts that I had, but bigger size. It's not a small anymore, it's a medium, and I'm sticking with it. So give yourself permission to grow in a healthy way, and don't be tied to that number. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes. I'm going to wrap up pretty soon. Any other questions? I would love to answer for you. I just want to feel as good as I looked, and thanks for doing these lives. You're so welcome. Thank you guys for being here and asking your questions. I just want to feel as good as I looked. I can relate to that, definitely. Do you take magnesium supplements? Well, I take Trace Minerals, which has magnesium, and I don't take a supplement other than that. Not anymore. I used to take, there's a supplement called MagMind on Amazon, and then there's also a magnesium supplement by BioOptimizers. It has all the forms of magnesium in it. I have a discount code for that. You can find it in the link in my bio. That's a really good one. You are welcome. You're so welcome. Is coconut water good? It's great for hydration, but it's loaded with sugar, so I don't drink it. If you're someone who does carbs, then yeah, go for it. But you're also drinking those carbs, so they're going to be absorbed into your bloodstream really quickly. So I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're like an Olympic runner or a swimmer and someone who's putting out energy at crazy rapid rates. All right, so I'm going to wrap up. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for being here. This is always so much fun. If you are interested in my spring retreat, please send me a message or email me at Rebecca, REBEKAH, at tailoredketo.health, and I'll send you the info. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.